Move it, troopers! On the double! Fire!
Well, hello there. This is James Arnold Taylor, the voice of Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Star Wars The Clone Wars TV series. Welcome to another episode of A Star Wars Story. Now, I have infiltrated the hive of scum and villainy known as the Scoundrels' Cantina in order to make certain that the scoundrels Luke and Todd give my story, Obi-Wan Kenobi's story, some justice. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Well, he's most notably seen in Star Wars Episodes 1 to 6, both of the Star Wars The Clone Wars series, Star Wars Rebels, and of course in a huge amount of expanded universe books and comics. As always, the scoundrels are mixing the expanded universe and canon together because they believe that there is no reason why most of it cannot fit together, which is apparently true, from a certain point of view. Now, since Todd has the high ground here at the beginning, he will be starting the story off, and I shall be waiting until Luke finally arrives. It's much like waiting for Anakin.
Obi-Wan Kenobi was born 57 years before the Battle of Yavin on the planet Stugin, from which he had fond childhood memories. At a young age, it was discovered that he was Force-sensitive, which eventually led him to being taken to the Jedi Temple in Coruscant to be trained as a Jedi. As a Jedi initiate, Kenobi would train under Grandmaster Yoda alongside other Jedi hopefuls, some of which was Quinlan Vos. One of his lightsaber instructors was the legendary Jedi Battlemaster and head of security, Sin Dralik. Over the course of Obi-Wan's training, he would become rivals and eventually even an enemy to a Jedi initiate called Brook Chun. In 45 BBY, Obi-Wan reached the age of 12, which meant that his chances to become a Padawan to a Jedi Master were almost over. When a maverick Jedi Master called Qui-Gon Jinn arrived to the Jedi Temple, it was at this moment that Obi-Wan tried to prove himself worthy, but ended up being rejected. As his time ran out, Kenobi was sent to the mining world of Bandamir to work for the Jedi Agricultural Corps as a farmer. Strangely enough, while on his way there, Qui-Gon Jinn happened to be sent on a mission to the same place, on the same ship. The Jedi Youngling and Jedi Master had to work together in order to survive their journey, which was a trap set for Jinn by his former apprentice, Xanatos. During their struggle together, Kenobi would show Qui-Gon Jinn his worth, but was in the end yet again rejected to become his apprentice. When they arrived to Bandamir, Jinn found out that his arrival here was also planned by his fallen apprentice, so he set out to meet with Xanatos. It ended up being a trap, but with the help of Kenobi, they were able to defeat Xanatos, but he managed to escape. After this, Qui-Gon saw Obi-Wan's true potential and took him as his Padawan learner. The two of them went on countless missions together to make the galaxy a better place, and would eventually end up tracking Xanatos to Telos 4 in order to capture him. Again, their enemies set a trap for them, from which they managed to escape and eventually duel against the Dark Jedi. Xanatos ended his own life by jumping into acid rather than being captured. In 44 BBY, Qui-Gon would take Obi-Wan to the planet Ilum in order for him to construct his first lightsaber, which would be based on his master's design. While there, they were sent on a mission to Ord Sigat, where Kenobi would meet Dexter Jettster and become good friends with him. That same year, the Stark Hyperspace War erupted, in which Obi-Wan Kenobi participated alongside his master, the Galactic Republic, and the Jedi Order. In the time period between 44 and 32 BBY, Kenobi and Jinn were sent on a mission to Mandalore, which was engulfed in a war. There, they served as bodyguards to Duchess Satine Kryze, a Mandalorian pacifist. They protected her for a whole year, and while doing so, Obi-Wan fell in love with her, but eventually chose to continue his training and follow the Jedi Code. He regretted this for many years to come. In 32 BBY, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn were sent by the Republic to negotiate with the Crait Federation, who have set up a blockade around the planet Naboo. Negotiations wouldn't go as planned, and Viceroy Gunray would send Droid Akaz and B-1 battle droids to stop them.
Kill them immediately.
In the end, they managed to escape to Naboo, where they met a Gungan, Jar Jar Binks, who would take them to Otoh Gunga, the Gungan capital. The Jedi would persuade the Gungan leader, Boss Nass, to give them a transport which would allow them to travel through the depths of Naboo and reach Theed, the capital of Naboo. When they reached Theed, they then rescued Queen Amidala, who was taken prisoner by the Crait Federation. While trying to escape to Coruscant and warn the Republic of the invasion, their hyperdrive was damaged, so they were forced to land on Tatooine for repairs. After landing, Obi-Wan would stay behind while his master, alongside a few others, searched for a new hyperdrive unit. While looking, Qui-Gon accidentally discovered Anakin Skywalker, whom he believed to be the Chosen One, after he sent a blood sample of his to Obi-Wan for him to analyze his unbelievable metachlorian count. When Qui-Gon and the others returned with the hyperdrive, little Anakin came along as well, and they were attacked by the mysterious Sith warrior Darth Maul before escaping to Coruscant. There, they were instructed by the Jedi Council to return to Naboo, protect Queen Amidala, and lure the mysterious Sith assailant. When they returned to Naboo, the Gungans joined them in their fight to free their world, and while they infiltrated Theed to capture Viceroy Gunray, the Gungans fought the droid armies as a distraction. While they were in the Theed hangar, searching for a way to capture the Crait Federation leader, they were intercepted by Darth Maul, whom the Jedi engaged in a fierce duel. After a long and difficult fight, Maul managed to separate Kenobi from his master, and as he ran to his aid, he could only watch as the Sith impaled him with his double-bladed lightsaber. After this, Kenobi retaliated with rage and almost ended up being defeated, but thanks to his training in his master's lightsaber, he got the upper hand and cut Darth Maul in half. Obi-Wan then promised his dying master that he will train Anakin as a Jedi, after which he was present at Jin's funeral, as well as the Theed celebration. Around 29 BBY, Kenobi went on his first mission with his Padawan, Anakin Skywalker, which led them to the planet Zanama Sukkot. In 28 BBY, Kenobi would take Anakin to Ilum in order for his Padawan to acquire a Kyber crystal and construct his first lightsaber. In 27 BBY, Obi-Wan and his apprentice were sent to observe the self-proclaimed Jedi Master Joruus C'baoth on his extragalactic venture on board the outbound flight. Up until 28 BBY, Obi-Wan used his deceased master's green-bladed lightsaber and then created a second blue one. In the years that followed, Obi-Wan and Anakin took part in countless adventures throughout the galaxy and formed a strong bond. In 22 BBY, Anakin and Obi-Wan returned to Coruscant in order to protect Padme Amidala, who was targeted for assassination. They formed a plan with Padme to lure the assassin to them by using her as bait. That same night, the bounty hunter Zam Wesell attempted to kill Senator Amidala, but her plot was foiled and Kenobi used her probe droid to find her, after which he and Anakin chased her through Coruscant.
You know I don't like it when you do that.
They chased her to a nightclub where Kenobi captured her, but before she could spill any information, she was shot by a toxic dart and killed. The dart led Obi-Wan to his old friend Dexter Jettster, who told him that it originated from the cloning world of Kamino.
Wow! What do you know?
After having trouble finding the planet in the Jedi archives, he traveled to the place where it was supposed to be and discovered that the Kaminoans were expecting him and have created a huge clone army for the Republic, of whom the original template was the legendary bounty hunter Jango Fett.
Always a pleasure to meet a Jedi.
As Jango attempted to flee with his son Boba, Kenobi confronted him and the two fought on the landing platform. Jango managed to escape, but was tracked by Kenobi to Geonosis, where he set loose huge amounts of punishment on the Jedi through seismic charges. Obi-Wan led Jango to believe that he got him, and later went to the planet's surface, where he discovered a multitude of Crait Federation ships, as well as overheard Count Dooku, aka his master's master, talk with the Separatist Council about the attempt on Padme's life. He then contacted the Jedi Council, as well as Anakin and Padme of what he saw, but got captured and imprisoned by the Separatists. There, Dooku visited him and revealed that the Republic was under the influence of a Sith Lord named Darth Sidious. He tried to convince Obi-Wan into joining him and destroying the Sith together, but Kenobi refused.
You must join me, Obi-Wan. And together, we will destroy the Sith.
Being sentenced to execution in the Geonosian arena, Kenobi was joined in the arena by Skywalker and Amidala, who in their attempt to rescue him were also captured.
Then we decided to come and rescue you. Good job.
Although they managed to mostly control the three creatures deployed to kill them, they were saved by the arrival of a Jedi task force led by Mace Windu.
This party's over.
Around 200 Jedi arrived to their rescue and a battle ensued in the arena against the enormous droid army. In the end, only a handful of Jedi survived, but were rescued by the LAAT gunships of the newly formed Grand Army of the Republic. As the huge battle of Geonosis started between the Separatists and the Republic, Obi-Wan and Anakin pursued Count Dooku in a gunship in order to not allow him to escape. They managed to catch up to him, but both of them ended up being overwhelmed by one of the greatest duelists of their time. Obi-Wan got cut in a few places, and Anakin lost his arm. After this, Yoda arrived and dueled against his old Padawan, but Dooku managed to escape. After the Battle of Geonosis, the Clone Wars began, and Obi-Wan Kenobi became a Jedi General in the Grand Army of the Republic and got paired with Clone Commander Cody, with whom he became good friends.
Good man, that Cody. Sorry for the interruption, but before we go on, might I recommend for everyone to watch Star Wars The Clone Wars in order to experience Obi-Wan as well as other character stories to the fullest, such as,
Jedi Master Plo Koon.
Rico Hardeen, O.C. Sobek, and, of course, Anakin, Master Yoda, Ahsoka, Padme, Rex, Cody, and the like, right? Thank you.
Soon after Geonosis, Obi-Wan participated in the Battle of Munilist, where he fought against the unkillable bounty hunter Dirge, as well as an army of his IG Lancer combat droids. As the war raged on to Jabim, the Republic suffered some of the highest clone casualties ever, and it was even believed that Kenobi got killed in an explosion. The Clone War would soon take him to Christosis, where he held off the Separatist droid armies alongside Skywalker and Commander Cody. As the victory was won at Christosis, Yoda sent Obi-Wan to negotiate with Jabba, while Anakin and his new apprentice Ahsoka went to rescue Jabba's son. As Skywalker's forces fought at the Battle of Teth in order to rescue Jabba's son, Kenobi arrived and dueled against Ventress until he overwhelmed her, although she managed to escape. When the Separatists deployed their new superweapon, the Malevolence, Kenobi and Anakin worked on sabotaging it from the inside, which in the end worked out great when it flew directly into a moon. During a mission to capture Count Dooku, a pirate called Hondo Ohnaka captured him instead, after which Kenobi and Skywalker were drugged by him and captured as well. This eventually led to Dooku escaping, while both the pirates and Jedi were left empty-handed. Obi-Wan would take part in making peace between the Tals and Pentorians in the snowy planet of Orto Platonia, as well as worked on finding a cure for the deadly Blue Shadow virus, which almost got released in Naboo by the Separatists. When the planet Ryloth was occupied by the Separatists, the Republic sent an invasion force to liberate it. General Kenobi and the 212th Battalion were a part of the first wave that worked on freeing the enslaved Twi'leks, as well as destroying the Separatist proton cannons that dealt huge damage to Acclamator ships. Obi-Wan participated in the Battle of Felucia, which the Republic lost and was forced to retreat, as well as in the mission to capture the bounty hunter Cad Bane and find the Force-sensitive children he had kidnapped. During the year 22 BBY, the Republic invaded Geonosis again to destroy the new Separatist droid factory there.
No, sir. I wasn't involved in the first assault on Geonosis.
Well, you didn't miss much. Last time I was chained to a pole and attacked by several humongous monsters.
That sounds entertaining.
Jedi General Obi-Wan Kenobi was part of the invasion force and flew in one of the LAAT Republic gunships to rendezvous with General Anakin Skywalker's and Ki-Adi-Mundi's forces. His gunship would get shot down and he would be dragged by clone troopers Waxer and Boyle to the rendezvous point by orders of Commander Cody. Eventually, the Republic would manage to destroy the factory's shield generator, after which the droid factory itself, but with huge casualties. After this, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Cody would search for the missing Jedi Luminara Unduli, who was captured by undead Geonosian soldiers who were controlled by the Geonosian Queen's hive mind. They barely made it out alive as the catacombs in which they fought the hive mind started to crumble thanks to their risky plan. Soon after, General Grievous would capture Jedi Master Eth Koth, who informed the Order where he was through hand signals which Kenobi deciphered. Immediately, a rescue mission was intact in which Anakin and Adi Gallia rescued Koth, while Obi-Wan viciously dueled against Grievous himself.
Surrender, General.
This led to Grievous's escape to the planet Seleucami, where Kenobi would pursue him with the help of the 212th Battalion, although as always, the good general managed to escape, but barely. During the year 21 BBY, the Separatists attacked Kamino, but the Republic was well prepared for it. As a huge battle took place in space, Kenobi fought alongside Anakin Skywalker and his troops against the droid armies, eventually confronting General Grievous in a vicious duel. He managed to get the upper hand against Grievous, as did the 501st Legion against the Clankers, thus winning the battle by defending the cloning facilities. Later in the war, Obi-Wan was dispatched to Mandalore to investigate the rumors stating that Mandalore was forming an army to help the Separatists. There he was reunited with Duchess Satine Kryze, whom he knew from when he was on Mandalore with his old master. Together, they investigated Mandalore's Moon of Concordia, where they found out about the Mandalorian terrorist, the Death Watch, which was led by Pre Vizsla, the so-called ally of Satine.
This lightsaber was stolen from your Jedi temple by my ancestors during the fall of the Old Republic.
Kenobi would be forced into a duel with the wielder of the ancient Darksaber, after which he managed to escape alongside Satine. While on their way to Coruscant, Kenobi would defend her after a Separatist plot unraveled in order to assassinate her.
Anakin.
What? He was gonna blow up the ship.
While on Coruscant, he would defend her again when a Death Watch assassin tried to eliminate her by orders from Pre Vizsla. After the crime lord Zero the Hutt was broken out of prison by Cad Bane, Kenobi was assigned to capture both of them with the help of Quinlan Vos. They would catch up to them on Teth, where Zero was found dead, and where the two Jedi dueled against Cad Bane, which led to the bounty hunter's escape. During the Battle of Sullust, Anakin and Obi-Wan fought in space against Ventress, which led them to crash into a Separatist ship where they dueled against the Dark Assassin.
Thank you, R2. That's quite enough.
Count Dooku interrupted the duel by destroying his own ship in order to eliminate Ventress by orders from Sidious, while Anakin and Obi-Wan fled, believing she was dead. Not long after, Anakin and Obi-Wan were in search of the mysterious Sith warrior Savage Opress, whom they tracked to Toydaria. As they fought against Savage, he escaped with the King of Toydaria in order to bring him to his new master, Count Dooku. The two Jedi would soon arrive, only to be As their duel went on through the hallways, the droids started to shoot at the Zabrak warrior, which separated the Jedi from Savage, after which they escaped the Separatist ship. When the Jedi Council received a 2,000-year-old Jedi distress code, Kenobi, alongside Anakin Skywalker and his Padawan Ahsoka Tano, were sent to investigate it. This led them to a crystal-shaped monolith, which acted as a gateway to the realm of Mortis, which they were pulled in by the Force. They would suddenly wake up in a world which was extremely strong with the Force, and find out about the ones who were the most powerful Force users in the entire galaxy. There was the son, who was the embodiment of the dark side of the Force, his sister, the daughter, who was the embodiment of the light side of the Force, and the father, who kept the balance between them. The father brought them to Mortis because of Anakin Skywalker, whom he believed to be the Chosen One, but wanted to test him to make sure.
Is it true that he is the Chosen One?
What do you know of such things?
The reason for it all is because the father was dying and wanted Anakin to replace him because he was the only one capable of balancing out his children. While on Mortis, Kenobi would communicate with the spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn, as well as find out that Anakin truly was the Chosen One.
If he is the Chosen One, he will discover it here.
He and Anakin would duel against Ahsoka Tano, who was corrupted by the sun, as well as find the Dagger of Mortis, which was the only thing capable of killing the Ones. In the end, the father and the Jedi were no match for the sun's growing dark side powers, so the father killed himself with the dagger in order to diminish the sun's power and assure that the Chosen One would not stray away from his destiny. After the capture of Jedi Master Evan Peel, who had top-secret information critical to the Republic, Obi-Wan, alongside Anakin, Captain Rex, Commander Cody, ARC Troopers Echo and Fives, and Ahsoka were assigned to rescue him from the impenetrable prison called the Citadel. They needed to be carbon frozen in order to infiltrate the prison, and after reaching the Citadel, rescued Evan Peel, as well as Captain Wilf Tarkin, but with quite a few casualties. Before being able to escape the planet, they fought for their lives and eventually lost ARC Trooper Echo as well as Jedi Master Evan Peel, but not before he passed on the secret information to Ahsoka. In 20 BBY, Kenobi would lead the 212th Battalion in an assault to capture the shadowy world of Umbara, where they would achieve victory. When the Togruta colonists of Kyros were kidnapped by the Separatists in order to be turned into slaves, the Republic sent an invasion force of which Obi-Wan was a part of in order to investigate their disappearance. They would meet with Separatist resistance, of which they made quick work, and Kenobi would end up negotiating with a Zygerian slaver called Darts Dinar, while Anakin and Ahsoka dispatched all the planted bombs throughout the city.
It certainly took him long enough this time. Well,
this mission led them to infiltrate Zygeria in order to find out where the Togruta colonists were taken. After a few complications with the Zygerians, Kenobi was captured and Anakin was forced to whip him before he was sold into slavery, although he refused and the two of them made their stand before they were overpowered by shock whips. Kenobi and Rex were sent to the Kadavo system where they became slaves, but soon enough, Anakin and Ahsoka found out their location, which was the same location where the Togruta were being held. A Republic rescue mission soon took place as they rescued the Togruta colonists as well as destroyed the Zygerian slave operation in that sector. At one point when Kenobi, Anakin and Ahsoka were in Coruscant, they were attacked by a sniper whom they started to chase, and when Obi-Wan was alone, he got shot in the chest and fell off a building. When Anakin arrived, his master was dead.
so, how was my funeral?
In truth, Obi-Wan faked his death in order to assume the identity of his would-be killer in order to get closer to Moralo Eval, who was the supposed mastermind of the plot to assassinate the Chancellor. Obi-Wan, Reiko Hardin as he was now known, would be sent to prison where he would gain the trust of Eval as well as Cat Bane by helping them escape. The fugitives would be chased by Ahsoka and Skywalker himself because of his belief that Hardin had killed his master. The Jedi would eventually catch up to them and Anakin fought against Obi-Wan, not knowing it was him. Kenobi managed to gain the upper hand and before knocking him out, told them not to follow him. Kenobi and the bounty hunters then traveled to Sereno because of Count Dooku's invitation to participate in the Box Challenge, which was meant to test them to the fullest. Those who survived would be allowed to participate in the kidnapping of the Chancellor, as well as be greatly rewarded. During the 4 box phases, more than half of the bounty hunters didn't survive, and Reiko Hardin, aka Kenobi, proved to be one of the best. When the time came to execute the plan to kidnap the Chancellor, Kenobi got in contact with the Jedi and sabotaged the mission in order for the Jedi to capture the bounty hunters. Since their plan failed, Dooku decided to take matters into his own hands and almost succeeded in kidnapping the Chancellor if it wasn't for Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well done, Master Kenobi. You are a worthy adversary.
When the pirate gang of Hondo Ohnaka captured the Jedi Youngling trading cruiser called the Crucible, Kenobi planned a rescue mission for them, but was interrupted by an attack by General Grievous's fleet, which gained the upper hand and sent a boarding party to his Venator-class Star Destroyer called the Negotiator. Obi-Wan and Cody went into the hangar area in order to repel the enemy, which was Grievous and an army of droids. Around the same time during the war, Obi-Wan was sent to the planet Onderon to train the Onderonian rebels who were fighting for the freedom of their world from the Separatists. At some point, Kenobi and Yoda felt a disturbance in the Force, signaling the return of Obi-Wan's old, not-so-dead enemy, Darth Maul. After this, the Jedi received a message from Maul and his brother Savage Opress that would lure Obi-Wan Kenobi into a trap on Rhydonia. There, the old enemies would engage each other, although Savage would interfere and knock Kenobi out. He eventually woke up on Maul's ship, where he was to be tortured and killed, but was saved by Asajj Ventress, who rescued him, all the while trying to collect the bounty on Savage.
I want that back.
That's fine. Red's not my color.
During their double duel, the Sith got the upper hand, although Kenobi and Ventress managed to escape, leaving the two brothers stranded in space. Not long after, Obi-Wan and Adigalia tracked Maul and Opress to the planet Florum, where another double duel ensued with the Jedi and the Sith.
Throwing in with pirates now. Oh, how the mighty Sith have fallen.
As they dueled, Hondo Ohnaka fought against the pirate mutineers that were under the Sith brothers. Eventually, Savage managed to kill Adigalia, and Kenobi was forced to retreat to Hondo's ruined stronghold. The Sith and their pirates tracked them, and Obi-Wan was forced to duel both of the Zabrak and show them how a true master of Seresu fights.
We are two, and you are no match for us both.
You are mistaken.
Due to Kenobi's incredible skill, he cut off Opress's arm off, after which the two brothers were forced to retreat. Once Darth Maul took over the planet Mandalore with the help of the Death Watch, Duchess Satine Kryze contacted the Jedi for help before being captured. Kenobi immediately traveled to Mandalore and attempted to rescue her by being disguised as a Death Watch, aka a Shadow Collective Guard. While trying to escape, they would be captured and taken to the Royal Palace. There, Maul would find out about Kenobi's feelings for Satine, and in order for Obi-Wan to feel the pain he felt for years, stabbed her with a darksaber. Her last words were that she always loved Kenobi and always will, after which Maul sent him to prison to rot in his misery. Obi-Wan would eventually be rescued by Satine's sister, Bo-Katan, who was the leader of the Death Watch that fought against the Shadow Collective. She and her renegade Night Owls would help him fight his way off the planet in order to warn the Republic of what had happened.
Maul must really want you dead.
You have no idea.
When Ahsoka Tano was framed for the bombing of the Jedi Temple, she was being hunted by the Republic, during which the Jedi Council didn't want Anakin to be involved because of his emotional attachment. Obi-Wan would convince the Council to let him because no one knew her better, and because he was the best chance she had to be proven innocent. In the end, Anakin did prove her innocence, and she was asked to return to the Jedi, but refused. Obi-Wan would also hear about the murder of Jedi General Tiplar at the Battle of Ringo Vinda by Clone Trooper Tup, as well as the tragedy of Clone Trooper 5s that followed. He, as well as all the Jedi, were left unaware of Order 66 that Fives was trying to warn them about.
No one will be able to stop our plan to execute Order 66.
In the year 19 BBY, Jedi Master Plo Koon found some evidence of the disappearance of Master Sifo Dyas, who was the Jedi that commissioned the Clone Army. This would lead Anakin and Obi-Wan to investigate, which eventually led them to the Pike Syndicate and Obadiah, thanks to the information given by Finis Valorum. There, they were given the information about Sifo Dyas, the man that was with him and who paid to get him killed. When they met with the man who was with Sifo Dyas, Count Dooku arrived and force choked him, after which a duel ensued with the Jedi. During the duel, the Pike leader showed up and revealed that Dooku was the man called Tyrannus, after which Dooku managed to escape. At some point, the spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn would contact Yoda, because of which the Jedi Council noticed Yoda's absent-mindedness and got worried. Together, the Council performed a joint meditation with Yoda, after which a deprivation ritual ensued in which Yoda was called by Qui-Gon to come to Dagobah, which he eventually did. When Yoda returned from his long journey, he shared some insight to Kenobi and Windu on how the Jedi will not find victory in the Clone Wars.
But victory for all time.
A few months before the ending of the Clone Wars, Obi-Wan and Anakin were sent to Utapau to investigate the mysterious death of a Jedi Master. There, Kenobi and Anakin would discuss Ahsoka Tano's departure from the Jedi Order for the first time and last time.
I'm your Padawan, just like Ahsoka was mine. How well would you sleep knowing I failed you?
Not very well, I imagine. Luckily, that isn't true.
While on Utapau, they discovered a huge kyber crystal that the Separatists were planning to acquire, but after quite a few complications they managed to destroy it, as well as Grievous's ship. Not long after, the long-lost ARC Trooper Echo was discovered to be alive and was rescued by Captain Rex from the Separatists. This would ensure the Republic's victory on a Nexus, in which Kenobi, Windu, and the Bad Batch participated.
I've got a present for you, Wrecker.
Oh, seriously? I gotta blow it up? The whole stinking thing?
Obi-Wan was also involved in the mission to assassinate Count Dooku, in which Quinlan Vos was deployed and reported to him regularly. Asajj Ventress also played a part in the mission, and at one point let Kenobi know that Quinlan was captured by the Count and turned to the dark side. Later, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ventress were sent to rescue Vos from the Count, in which they succeeded and brought him back to the temple, as well as fully pardoned Ventress. Not long after, Kenobi participated in a few missions with Quinlan, during which he became suspicious of his loyalty, so the Jedi Council decided to send him to assassinate Count Dooku once more to prove his loyalty. All of this would eventually culminate in Ventress, who would become Quinlan's lover, being killed by a former master, Count Dooku, and Kenobi alongside Vos, taking her body to Dathomir to lay her to rest and honor her. Near the end of the war in 19 BBY, Kenobi was leading an assault on Vizsla Keep 09, which was used as Darth Maul's hideout. There, the captured Count Dooku temporarily joined forces with Maul in order to fight against Kenobi and the Jedi that were by his side. In the end, the Sith and the Shadow Collective Mandalorians managed to escape, leaving a dead Jedi Master as well as a few injured ones. Eventually, Maul would return to Mandalore, where a huge battle was taking place. Kenobi and Anakin would eventually be dispatched to Mandalore in order to assist Captain Rex and Ahsoka Tano in their fight, but would soon be called back due to the Separatist attack on Coruscant and the kidnapping of the Supreme Chancellor.
Now, Luke, strong name, yes, but well, Luke, the other scoundrel, has finally arrived to tell the part of the story where it all becomes so uncivilized. Luke, use the Force. Trust your feelings. Terribly sorry, it's habit.
As Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker returned to Coruscant, they witnessed an enormous battle and flew in their Era 2 Actis-class interceptors towards General Grievous's ship, the Invisible Hand.
Oh, I see it. Oh, this is going to be easy.
As they were pushing through to Grievous's ship, they had some trouble with buzz droids, although managed to successfully board the Invisible Hand thanks to Anakin Skywalker's flying skills, although lost R4 in the process.
Oh dear.
Once on board, they ran into some trouble with battle droids but cleared them out easily and eventually arrived to rescue Chancellor Palpatine, who was being held by Count Dooku.
Chancellor Palpatine, Sith Lords are our speciality.
As Kenobi and Skywalker engaged Count Dooku, they allowed him to believe that he had the upper hand, but that was until they switched to their more advanced styles of lightsaber combat.
Good. Twice the pride, double the fall.
As they surrounded him, he force-choked Obi-Wan Kenobi and knocked him out, while Anakin continued to fight the Count. In the end, Anakin overwhelmed him and Kenobi wasn't present to stop him from decapitating Dooku.
Do it.
Not long after this, the trio would be captured by General Grievous and taken to the bridge where an imminent duel erupted, which ended in Grievous escaping and the ship being crippled. Due to Anakin's piloting skills, they managed to safely crash land on Coruscant unharmed.
Another happy landing.
Soon enough, Anakin would be appointed as the Chancellor's personal representative on the Jedi Council, which would be approved, although greatly disturbed his master. Kenobi was forced to ask Anakin on behalf of the Council to spy on the Chancellor's dealings due to their friendship. Not long after this, Anakin and Obi-Wan would meet, not knowing that this would be the last time that they see each other as friends for a long time. Obi-Wan Kenobi was sent to Utapau due to the leaked information of General Grievous's whereabouts, along with the 212th Attack Battalion backing him up. While on Utapau, he conjured the high ground as the following happened.
Hello there.
As the good general activated his 4 lightsabers and pushed forward towards Kenobi, he would learn what a Master of Soresu, the defensive form of lightsaber combat, was capable of, as 2 of his arms got sliced off. As the 212th Attack Battalion arrived to back him up, a huge battle ensued, after which Grievous tried to escape but was followed by Obi-Wan. In the meantime, he managed to lose his lightsaber, so when he caught up to the good general, he fought empty-handedly, managing to finally once and for all kill Grievous with his own blaster.
So uncivilized.
While all of this played out, Anakin would be turned to the dark side by Palpatine, who was in fact Darth Sidious, due to promises of saving his wife and child
from certain death.
Now known as Darth Vader, Anakin was sent to slaughter the Jedi in the Jedi Temple as Palpatine issued Order 66, which forced the entire clone army to eliminate their Jedi generals. When Kenobi returned to his troops, those would be the last moments of his friendship with Clone Commander Cody, as moments later, his inhibited chip would activate and force him to kill his friend.
Yes, my lord.
Unlike most Jedi, Obi-Wan managed to survive and regroup with Grandmaster Yoda, with whom he went on a mission to the Jedi Temple to create a holographic warning for all surviving Jedi to stay away from the temple.
This is Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. I regret to report that both our Jedi Order and the Republic have fallen.
While doing so, he stumbled upon recordings of Anakin becoming a Sith and slaughtering younglings in the Jedi Temple alongside the clones. He then went to visit Padme Amidala and tell of what had transpired, all the while finding out that she was pregnant and that Anakin was the father. This led him to sneak aboard a ship as she went after Anakin, who was sent to the planet Mustafar to eliminate the Separatist Council. When she met with Anakin, Kenobi revealed himself, which angered the Sith apprentice, who then force-choked his wife.
Until now you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Obi-Wan tried to reason with his old friend, only to find out that it was too late.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
As Darth Vader leapt at his former master and former friend, one of the greatest lightsaber duels in the history of the galaxy would transpire. The two of them would find out, time and time again, that they were not only equals, but also that they knew each other better than anyone, which prolonged the duel with no end in sight. At one point, they accidentally deactivated the facility's shields, which weakened the structure, resulting in its imminent destruction. Obi-Wan Kenobi was constantly on the defensive, and even though Vader was one of the most powerful Jedi and Sith ever, he was unable to break his mastery of Seresu. As the duel continued with no end in sight, Obi-Wan Kenobi conjured the high ground once more.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
Out of sheer spite and hubris, Vader jumped at him, which would be his undoing as his old friend sliced off his arm and legs.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
This was one of the hardest moments of Obi-Wan Kenobi's life, and he was simply unable to kill his best friend.
You were my brother, Anakin! I loved you!
He picked up Anakin's lightsaber and left with memories which will haunt him forever. After this, he regrouped with Yoda on Polis Massa, who also failed with his mission, where Padme would give birth to twins who would be called Luke and Leia, although she would die afterwards. Senator Bail Organa would adopt little Leia, while Obi-Wan Kenobi would take Luke to his family and watch over him on Tatooine. Before leaving, Yoda informed him that an old friend has learned the path to immortality.
One who has returned from the netherworld of the Force. Your old master.
Qui-Gon.
While in his exile on Tatooine, Obi-Wan would often visit the Laz homestead and watch over Luke from afar. He would soon take on the alias of Ben Kenobi, as well as visit the grave of Shmi Skywalker in honor of Anakin Skywalker. At one point, Tusken Raiders would steal 20 moisture evaporators from the Laz family, so Kenobi went after them by himself and managed to load the evaporators onto a bantha without being detected. Before leaving, he would be spotted and attacked by a large group of sand people whom he outsmarted by cutting their clothes in order to reveal their skin instead of simply cutting them down. This allowed him to escape while they were distracted by attacking each other, so he returned the Laz family the evaporators. A few months after this, Obi-Wan felt that he was ready to learn in the ways of the Wills from his old master Qui-Gon Jinn, although was informed by him that he was not ready. In 18 BBY, Qui-Gon Jinn informed Kenobi that by helping a young Jedi fugitive called Ferrus Olin, he'll be ready to learn in the way of the Wills. This would lead Kenobi to the planet Balassa, where he would rescue Olin from an Imperial Inquisitor called Malorum, after which they would be pursued by Boba Fett, but managed to escape. He also went to Polis Massa to make sure that the information of Luke and Leia would stay hidden, where he would be forced to kill an Imperial Inquisitor who accidentally ran into him. Ferrus Olin would eventually ask him to join him alongside other surviving Jedi, although Kenobi needed to return to Tatooine, where the spirit of Qui-Gon Jinn was watching over Luke in his absence. When he returned, he'll begin learning the way to immortality with the help of Qui-Gon, as Yoda had done before him. In 17 BBY, Obi-Wan will learn about the Jedi Purge survivor Sharad Hath, who had become a Tusken Raider warlord who was threatening to eliminate the farmers of Tatooine due to the losses the Tuskens suffered over the years from them. When Head arrived with a Tusken army near the Laz homestead, Kenobi begged him to stop his crusade and reconsider. Sharad Hath would ignore his pleas, leaving Kenobi with no choice but to duel against him. As the two Jedi fought in a brutal duel, the Tusken Raider army watched their proud leader fight for him. Eventually, Obi-Wan Kenobi got the upper hand and cut off his arm as all his force pushed it. After that, he took off his mask, revealing his face and automatically making him an outcast among the Sand People. In honor of his late father, his life would be spared if he was to leave Tatooine and never return. In 11 BBY, during the Great Drought, the Hutts were extorting the last family into paying them a water tax, which would lead little Luke to steal back the water from them. Obi-Wan Kenobi sensed this and started disabling Jabba's men with the Force, while Luke got knocked out by a guard. He would then be carried home by Ben Kenobi to his aunt and uncle. In 10 BBY, Ben Kenobi watched from afar as Luke flew in his T-16 Skyhopper through Beggar's Canyon, witnessing his skill as a pilot, which was passed down to him from his father.
Now this is pod racing.
Luke then damaged his Skyhopper while doing a dangerous maneuver and was grounded by Owen. Kenobi got him the parts to fix it and secretly sent them to him, and after a few days, Owen put 2 and 2 together and brought the parts back to him. He believed that he was dangerous and wanted him to have nothing to do with his family. A day later, Owen would be kidnapped by a bounty hunter called Blacker Suntan, who was sent by Jabba the Hutt, who believed him to have made quick work of his men during the drought. Obi-Wan felt a disturbance in the Force and went after the bounty hunter in order to rescue Owen. During the duel, Owen was thrown off a cliff and barely hung on, while Obi-Wan was trying to bring him up with the Force and fight the Wookiee bounty hunter at the same time. In the end, the bounty hunter was finally defeated, and Owen was saved by Luke, who flew in his fixed Skyhopper. In 6 BBY, Old Ben would rescue Luke and his friend Windy Starkiller from a Crait dragon, which had cornered them in a cave in the Jundland Wastes, after which he returned them home. During all these years, he had written a journal which was intended for Luke when he was to eventually train to become a Jedi. In 2 BBY, Kenobi's old enemy Maul would arrive to Tatooine in search of revenge once again.
Kenobi. Kenobi!
The Jedi Ezra Bridger would be lured to Tatooine by him, thanks to the Sith holocron he possessed, all in order to drive Obi-Wan out of hiding. Kenobi would eventually save Ezra from a sandstorm, and when the young Jedi woke up, the two of them had a short talk in which Obi-Wan taught him a few things, after which this happened.
Now the only one who has gained anything from all of this is...
me.
Obi-Wan then sent Ezra on his way home, after which he tended to his old wound, his old enemy. When Maul figured out that it was protecting someone, Obi-Wan turned his lightsaber on and placed it in a Sarasa stance. After this, he switched it to his old master Qui-Gon Jinn's form of lightsaber combat to lure Maul in using the same move on him as he did on his master 30 years ago. As they prepared for battle, this happened. As Maul fell to the ground, Obi-Wan comforted him in his final moments, hoping that he found redemption in the Force, treating him as an old friend and honoring his memory. In 0 BBY, shortly before the Battle of Scarif and Battle of Toprawa, Bail Organa sent Princess Leia to deliver a message and recruit General Kenobi to the Rebel Alliance. Leia would soon be captured by the Empire, although the droids R2-D2 and C-3PO would escape to Tatooine and eventually find their way to Old Ben, as he was known then. This happened through the hands of Luke Skywalker, as his uncle Owen bought them from Jawas. When Luke and C-3PO went out to search for R2-D2 who escaped in search of Obi-Wan, they were attacked by Tusken Raiders, which is when Ben Kenobi came to their aid by producing sounds of a Crait dragon.
Hello there.
It was then that Luke Skywalker found out that he was in fact Obi-Wan Kenobi all along.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan.
Kenobi would take Luke and the droids to his home, where he used the opportunity to finally present him his father's lightsaber, as well as reveal that he was a Jedi Knight.
An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
Obi-Wan also disguised the truth from Luke regarding Anakin's death, because it wasn't time for him to know yet.
A young Jedi named Darth Vader helped the Empire hunt down and destroy the Jedi Knights. He betrayed and murdered your father.
When Kenobi saw the message of Leia, he realized his time in exile was over and set out on his way to Alderaan to deliver the Death Star plans, as well as offer to train Luke in the ways of the Force.
You must learn the ways of the Force.
As they traveled to Anchorhead, they came upon a destroyed sandcrawler, which is where Luke realized that the Jawas led the stormtroopers to his home. As he witnessed his aunt and uncle dead, he returned and agreed to learn in the ways of the Force. They then traveled to
Mos Eisley Spaceport. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Using a Jedi mind trick, Old Ben got them past a squad of stormtroopers who were looking for R2-D2 and C-3PO.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
He can go about his business.
After that, they went into Chalmun's cantina to search for a pilot to take them to Alderaan. When Luke got into some trouble with Evazan and Ponda Baba, Kenobi pulled out his lightsaber and cut off Ponda Baba's arm off. They would then find a pilot who was none other than Han Solo and his best friend Chewbacca.
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
Should I have?
Before leaving Tatooine, they would be attacked by stormtroopers but escaped on board the biggest hunk of junk in the galaxy. They would also be pursued by Star Destroyers before they went into lightspeed. While en route to Alderaan, Kenobi would arrange an exercise for Luke so that he could learn to sense the Force and deflect fire from a training remote. In the meantime, the Imperial superweapon, the Death Star, destroyed Alderaan and Kenobi sensed it.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
When they exited hyperspace, there was no Alderaan and they were heading straight for a small moon.
That's no moon. It's a space station.
The Death Star then captured the Millennium Falcon with their tractor beam, and Obi-Wan told them that he would take care of it.
Damn fool, I knew that you were gonna say that.
Who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows it?
Kenobi insisted on going alone and encouraged Luke regarding his destiny.
The Force will be with you. Always.
As Obi-Wan was sneaking around the Death Star, Luke, Han and Chewie decided to rescue Princess Leia, whom they learned was on board the station. Obi-Wan eventually deactivated the tractor beam, although was sensed by Darth Vader, who was also on board. After 19 years since the duel on Mustafar, the two former friends confronted each other for the final time.
When I left you, I was but a learner. Now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, Darth.
Obi-Wan Kenobi had become rusty during all these years, but he knew something Darth Vader didn't know.
You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Eventually, when Luke and his friends were escaping towards the Millennium Falcon, they witnessed Obi-Wan doing against Vader, which is when Obi-Wan knew it was his time to become one with the Force, and so he did. He would then guide Luke in escaping the Death Star with the Falcon. Thanks to Galen Erso's information of the Death Star's weakness, the Rebel Alliance launched an attack on the enormous battle station, which would be known as the Battle of Yavin. During the assault, the following happened.
Use the Force, Luke. Let go.
Thanks to Obi-Wan's guidance, Luke managed to deliver the shot which would destroy the Death Star and save the Rebel Alliance on Yavin 4. Obi-Wan would guide Luke in the following months as he searched for Jedi knowledge in order to train in the ways of the Force, and when he was confronted by Darth Vader for the first time on Kai-Mun 1, he was told to run. Not long after, during the year 0 ABY, the Empire created the false Obi-Wan Kenobi, which was in fact an actor upgraded by plastic surgery. This was done in order to lure and capture Skywalker, although the actor became so obsessed with his challenging role that he started to respect the late Kenobi and in the end, sabotaged Darth Vader's plan, which got him killed. Soon after, when Luke went to the planet Vrogus Vas, he was attacked by Vader and crash-landed near a Jedi temple. There, Kenobi told him to abandon the place because it was not safe, as well as contacted Vader telling him that he was sorry, which Vader dismissed as a delusion. Around 2 years after the Battle of Yavin, while Luke was on the planet of Mimban in search of a Kyber crystal, he was confronted by Darth Vader once again. As the two dueled, Skywalker's every move was guided by Kenobi himself, which in the end helped him push back the Dark Lord and escape. During the following years, he helped Luke countless times and would be seen on Mustafar helping an anonymous spacer defeat a Dark Jedi. The spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi also traveled to Dagobah, where he would convince Yoda to train Luke in the ways of the Jedi when the time was right. 3 years after the Battle of Yavin, on the planet Hoth, after Luke Skywalker barely escaped from a Wampa, Obi-Wan Kenobi would appear to him once again.
You will go to the Dagobah system.
Dagobah system.
There you will learn from Yoda.
On Dagobah, Yoda would train Luke in the ways of the Force, and when Skywalker had a vision of the future where his friends were in trouble in Cloud City, Obi-Wan and Yoda warned him of the dangers of the dark side and the Emperor's intent.
This is a dangerous time for you, when you will be tempted by the dark side of the Force.
When Skywalker dueled against Darth Vader on Bespin, the Dark Lord revealed that in truth, he was Anakin Skywalker, his father.
No, I am your father.
In 4ABY, when Luke returned to Dagobah as he promised, Yoda became one with the Force, and Kenobi appeared to him once again, where he explained the truth of his father's death when he became Darth Vader.
So what I told you was true, from a certain point of view.
Kenobi also expressed that he didn't believe that there was any good in Vader, as his belief that he was the chosen one had faded, while Luke still believed otherwise.
There is still good in him.
He's more machine now than man, twisted and evil.
He would give him advice which would help Luke in his final duel with Vader, as well as tell him of his sister and why they were divided at birth. At the Battle of Endor, as Luke was facing his father, he eventually defeated him, as well as rejected the dark side for good.
You failed, Your Highness. I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
The Emperor would then sentence him to death by Force lightning in front of his father. As Kenobi watched from the netherworld of the Force, he couldn't believe what he saw as the former Sith Lord Anakin Skywalker killed the Emperor in order to save his son. He then realized that Anakin was in truth the chosen one from the beginning, and that his son was the one who led him to fulfill his destiny. When Anakin Skywalker died in his son's arms, the spirits of Qui-Gon, Yoda and Obi-Wan watched and greeted their redeemed friend in the netherworld of the Force as he joined them. As they existed in a state where there was no past, present or future, Obi-Wan would teach Anakin Skywalker to manifest himself as a Force ghost in corporal space. At the celebration after the Battle of Endor, Anakin, Yoda and Obi-Wan watched Luke and the Rebels celebrate the greatest victory in galactic history as the Force was finally in balance and the Galactic Empire was no more. Obi-Wan Kenobi played one of the biggest and most important parts in saving the universe and forever bringing peace and happiness to the galaxy. Oh, thank you God for this beautiful story that George Lucas has created.
Right then. You hive of scum and villainy, this concludes the story of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Todd, Luke, and myself hope you all have enjoyed it and perhaps learned something new about the vast galaxy of Star Wars. If you'd like to watch more videos like this one, this is the channel you're looking for. So, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You will subscribe.
Do it.
Also, you can join my alter ego, James Arnold Taylor, at his channel on YouTube. The link is down below in the description. So, remember, God is awesome, and the Force will be with you. Always. You rebel scum.
This party's over.